the language, half of their children spoke Ashdodian and did not know how to speak the language of the Jews, and likewise with the language of each other. So I contended with them, and I cursed them, and I beat some of the men and tore their hair out. I made them swear by God that you not give your daughters over to their sons, nor marry their daughters to your sons or yourselves. Verse 26, and I said, did not Solomon, king of Israel, sin in which such woman? Among the many nations, there was never a king like him. He was beloved by his power, God, and God appointed him king over all Israel. Yet the alien, there goes the word alien again, the strange wives caused him to sin. You see, there goes the word alien, strange, or foreign. Those women were pagan. Those women did not cleave to the God of Israel. They did not follow or keep the Torah. So therefore they caused King Solomon to worship and follow after their idols and their gods. And it says over here, did not Solomon, king of Israel, sin with such? How come he did not say his father, King David, who also had concubines and non-Israelite women? How come he did not say Moses? Because you notice that their wives were never referred to as alien wives or strange wives. You dig what I'm saying? They were never referred to as pagan wives. And the reason for that means because all of their wives were in order. They were cleavers. They believe in the Creator. They believe in the Most High. And they kept the law, statutes, and commandments in the Torah. You see? I'm going to go to verse 1. Nehemiah 13:1. And it says, on that day, the book of Moses was read in the ears of the people, and it was found written in it that an Ammonite or a Moabite shall not enter into the congregation of God to eternity, because they did not greet the children of Israel with bread and with water. And the Moabite king hired Balaam against Israel to curse Israel, but our power reversed the curse into a blessing. So some of them are also trying to utilize, and I've seen Iuic also utilizing the scripture, and as well as all these false camps out there, these black devils and false prophets are trying to use that verse to trying to say, you see, we're not supposed to deal with the women of the other nations. You can't deal with the Moabite or an Ammonite. And you can read about that in Deuteronomy 23:3 in regards of the law. But the problem is, this is the year 2019. 10 generations have already been passed by. So the Most High, the Creator, will make exceptions to the rule. And especially if you become a cleaver and you return unto him. And I'm going to show y'all right now. I'm going to go in the book of, of 2 Samuel. I'm going to go in the book of 2 Samuel. 2 Samuel 8:2. Because it says that the Moabite and the Ammonite cannot enter into the congregation of the Creator. You don't have to answer to this also. It says, 2 Samuel, I'm going to start off 8:1. And it happened after this that David struck the Philistines and he subdued them. David took Mechbehama from the hands of the Philistines, and he also struck Moab. He measured his who? Captives with a rope, saying to them, down on the ground, and measuring 2 ropes, length to be put to death, and 1 rope's length to be kept alive. And it says that the Moabites became subjects, servants unto King David, or to David, bearers of tribute. So during the time of King David's monarchy, he also had Moabite servants in his midst, in the midst of the congregations. Anytime we had a servant, they were worshiping the Creator and keeping the Torah. You see? But when you read Nehemiah 13:1, what it's really going into, it's going in, and I'm going to prove it also with a precept. It's going into those pagan idol worshippers amongst the Moabites and the Ammonites, who don't want to forsake their wicked ways and their wicked deeds to serve the Creator. And I'm going to prove it in a few, man. But this time, I'm going to show you all the different precepts, showing you on how we have Moabites and Ammonites who became servants under us and kept these ordinances. Let's see, 2 Samuel 23:37. Samuel 23, and this is dealing with Israel's army. All right, let's see. All right, verse 37. This is what Israel had in their army: Zelek the Ammonite, Zerah the Beerite, who was Joab's son, Zerah the arm bearer. Now over here it says who? Zerah the Ammonite was also one of my mighty men. But when you read Nehemiah 13:1, and as well as Deuteronomy 23:7, it says Ammonite and the Moabite shall enter the congregation of the Most High forever. But it says unto the 10th generation. The 10th generation, we're already in the year 2019. 10th generation have already been passed. So the Ammonites and the Moabites, if they repent and cleave and they want to come in and get this juice and cleave to the Torah, then they could do so. You see? I'm going to go to another one. Let's see. We got Malachi, Proverbs, Job, Song of Solomon. I'm going to go in the book of Ruth, chapter 4, verse 10. Ruth 4:10. And what is more, I have also acquired Ruth, the what? The Moabite, the wife of Mahan, as a wife, to perpetuate the name of the deceased on an inheritance, that the name of the deceased may not be cut off from among his brethren and from the gate of his people. You are a witness today. Now it says in verse 10 that Ruth was a Moabite. So now I'm going to jump down to verse 13. And it also says, and so Boaz took Ruth, and she became his wife. And he came to her. All right. Yahweh let her conceive, and she bore a son. Now you have an Israelite man by the name of Boaz who married a Gentile woman by the name of Ruth, who also forsook the idol and the god of her nations and became a cleaver. Okay? And when you go back and check out and read the story, you're not going to find anywhere in the scriptures where it says that she seduced Boaz into worshiping or following after another god. You notice when you also read Nehemiah 13:25, it says King Solomon sinned by these things, but it didn't mention anything about Boaz. You see what I'm saying? It didn't mention anything about him. And she was an ancestor of who? Of King David. And she was also an ancestor of Yahushai. We can read about that in the book of, matter of fact, I'm going to read it right now real quick. Hold on. Alright, let's see. These are the generations of Yahushai, the son of Dod, the son of Abraham, Isaac. Of Abraham begot Isaac, and Isaac begot Jacob, or Jacob, begot Yahoda or Judah, and his brothers begot Perez, Zerah from Tamar. Perez begot Ezron. Ezron begot Aram. Aram begot Haninabab. Haninabab begot Nashon. Nashon begot Salmon. Salmon begot Boaz from Rahab the harlot. Boaz begot Obed from who? From Ruth. And Obed begot Jesse. Jesse begot David. David begot Solomon. So now I'm going to jump all the way down to, I'm going to get straight to the point. And it says, she will bear her son, and he will call his name Yahushai, or quote unquote Jesus, because he will save his people from their sins. You see? So when you read, let's see, Ruth 4 and 13, and it says, and so Boaz took Ruth, and she became his wife. She became his wife. Now, so when you read in the book of Matthew, the real book of Matthew, it says, and it speaks about the generations of Yahushai, or Jesus. And guess what? She was a Moabite. But it says that a Moabite and an Ammonite cannot enter the congregation of the Most High. But if they're repenting and they want to cleave unto our scriptures and unto our laws, then they have every right. So I'm going to go in the book of Ruth, chapter 3, verse 11. And it says, and now, my daughter, do not fear. Whatever you say, I will do for you. For all the men of the gate of my people know that you are a worthy woman. Or it also means virtuous. When you look it up in the Hebrew, virtuous woman. You can also, matter of fact, you can also read it in the KJV, and it's going to say virtuous woman. So Ruth, who was not an Israelite woman, was the only woman in the scriptures who was referred to as being worthy or virtuous. And she was a Moabite. So now I'm going to prove to y'all as to why the Creator didn't want to allow some of the Moabites or the Ammonites to enter into the congregation, which also going to bring me to this chapter also that I have seen Iuic utilize to justify this lie, and as well as other camp members. I'm going to the book of Numbers. Numbers 25 and 1. And it says, Israel settled in Shittim, and the people began to commit what? Harlotry with the daughters of Moab. They invited the people to the feast of what? Of their gods. The people ate and prostrated themselves to their gods. Israel became attached to Baal Peor, and the wrath of Yahweh flared up against Israel. They were following Baal Peor. They were following after the gods of the Moabites. Is why the Creator had an issue and a problem with us dealing with those pagan idol worshippers. But you notice, when I read the scriptures in regards to the Moabites who became David's servants, Zelek the Ammonites, and Ruth the Moabite who ended up marrying a Hebrew Israelite man, they never did such of these atrocities unto Israel. Why? Because it was following and keeping Torah. It's simple and easy to understand. Which also going to bring me to verse 6 that they like to use to say, you see, you can't deal with the women of the other nations. It says, behold, a man of the children of Israel came and brought a Midianite woman, an Israelite woman, near to his brothers in the sight of Moses and in the sight of the entire assembly of the children of Israel. And they wept at the entrance of the tent of the meeting. Phinehas, the son of Eleazar, son of Aaron, the Kohen priest, saw, and he stood up from the meat of the assembly, and he took a spear, all right, in his hand. He followed the Israelite men into the tent, and he pierced them both, the Israelite man and the woman, which was a Midianite woman, into the stomach. And the plague was halted upon the children of Israel. Those who died in the plague were 24,000. So basically, you got a situation over here when one of the Israelite men brought a Midianite woman in the sight of Moses, and Phinehas brought judgment upon them. So there you go. You have Iuic, these false prophets, black devils in disguise, and as well as the rest of these other camps out there are saying that if you're dealing with a Gentile woman, that you're supposed to be put to death immediately. This is the scripture that will also show forth the penalty for dealing with a non-Israelite woman. But unfortunately, as usual, they don't want to jump down and read a couple of verses that will totally cut this falsehood. I'm going to jump down to verse 16. And I want to show you the reason why Phinehas pretty much brought forth judgment on that Israelite who did this heinous act. And it says, verse 16, Yahweh spoke to Moses, saying, harass the Midianites and smite them, for they harassed you through their conspiracy, that they conspired against you in a matter of what? PR. Baha PR. And in a matter of Cosby. You see? Daughter of a leader of the Median. Their sister who was slain on the day of the plague in a matter of what? PR. The reason why Phinehas brought judgment upon them is because they were worshiping an idol, a god of false deity by the name of PR, or Baha PR. All the different precepts that we done went to ever since I started the video, point by point, is showing you the beef or the issue that the Most High had with us dealing with some of these Gentile women. And it was all in reference, or being a reference to idolatry. That's it. The worshiping of false deities and false gods. You see? It had absolutely nothing to do with the color of their skin or their nations. Just like I just showed you on the book of Ruth, she ended up marrying who? She ended up marrying the Israelite men, and she never seduced him into worshiping or following after another god or idol. You see? So now it speaks about the Midianite. Well, now we're going to go in the book of Numbers, the 31st chapter. And it's going to appear to look like a contradiction, but it's not. And I'm going to show you why. This is number 31 and 9. So this is dealing when the children of Israel went to war against the Midianites. And I'm going to show you what happened. And it says, verse 9, the children of Israel took captives the woman of Midian, and they took their children and all of their cattle and flocks and all their wet. They took what? As spoil. So they took the woman and the children's as spoil. You see? And what do you think they did with the woman? They took them as concubines. And I'm going to further prove it to you. I'm going to jump down to verse 17. And it says, so now, kill every male among the young children and every woman fit to know a man by lying with a male. And that's dealing among the Midianites. You shall kill but all of the young children among the women who have not known lying with the male, you may keep alive for yourselves. You see? I'm going to jump down again to verse 33. And it says, and the cattle 72,000, and donkeys 61,000, and human beings, the woman who had not known lying with a male, all the souls 32,000. So when you read Numbers, the 31st chapter, This is what the Creator told Moses to tell the children of Israel. All of the women among the Midianites who had not known any man, you could take those for yourselves. Those women were not corrupted with idolatry and paganism. So that's why the Creator gave them the decree. And you can also read about that when you read about the law of war in Deuteronomy 21:10, going all the way down to verse 15, man. So if judgment was brought upon that Midianite in Numbers the 25th chapter, but in Numbers the 31st chapter, the Creator is ordaining us to take the woman that had not known any man for ourselves. What do you think the Israelite men at that time did to these women? They had them as concubines. And they never seduced them into worshiping or following after any other gods. So that was the issue and the beef, like I say, that the Creator and the Most High had against us at that time. You see? What's over there? It says what? Moses and Eleazar, the Kohen of the priests, did as Yahweh. You see, it was commanded by the Creator. Had commanded Moses the animal booty behind the spoils that the people of the legion looted, the flock of 670,000. This was all the spoil that they had. The cattle, 72,000, the donkeys, 61,000, and human beings, and also the women. They also had as spoils. They kept the women for themselves. They kept the Midianite women for themselves. You see? So the next one, let's see. Matter of fact, let's see, should I stop this video? Oh, I'm gonna stop this video right now. I'm gonna come back for part 3.